Again, she said, just do your best. You make it, you stay. I'll be glad. If you don't, then at least you try.
Yeah.
She charged me $300 a month since the beginning until today. She never raised not even $1.
Wow. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Hustle on Purpose. My name is GT Ikard, and today we have with us Oki Sutanto. Oki, how's it going, man?
Doing well, thank you. How are you?
I'm great, man. Thank you so much for coming, and thank you for what you call the Indonesian Snickers. Bang,
Yep.
bang.
Bang, bang.
Yeah. I can't wait to try that. I'm going to, my kids are going to be
Yep.
super excited. Whenever their grandmother comes over,
Oh, yeah.
their great grandmother, she always has candy for them. So like my kids are conditioned when they walk up to the front door. This happened last night is what made me think about it. My 2-year-old son walks up to her just with like his hand out. And she was just coming by for a second, and she was like, well, it's dinner time. I didn't bring you any candy or whatever. And he wasn't upset, but he goes, can I check your pockets?
Wow.
I was like, man, my 2-year-old son's like, patting down his great grandmother when she comes in the door, checking her for snacks. I thought that was hilarious. But yeah, they'll be jacked about that. So thank you so much.
Absolutely.
So yeah, man, for those people watching and listening that don't know you, will you just tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Well, yeah. My name is Oki. I've been living here in Little Rock for since 2000. So
Yeah.
23 years, 22. Because I was in Alabama for 8 months. So yeah, 22 years. And
Where in Alabama?
Edmore. It's a small town, yes. Okay. There's no Walmart there.
How'd you end up there?
Well, my aunt lived there.
Okay.
So that's how I end up there, because that's the first time I came here, and I work for her.
Yeah. Doing
Because
what?
I have no family. So I was helping her in the kitchen. She has a buffet, Chinese buffet restaurant.
Awesome.
So
Yeah. Cool.
yeah, and so now moving to Little Rock from Alabama and just work. All I know is restaurant work.
Yeah.
Ever since, yeah. And
So when you came to the U.S. from Indonesia, you went straight to Edmore?
Edmore, Alabama.
Okay.
Yep.
And was that your introduction to the restaurant business?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So you just jumped right into it.
Jump right into it.
Yeah.
It was a buffet where all the prep has to be like a lot. So it was kind of culture shock to me, from never work in that kind of situation to like, come on, just keep on prepping and prepping and prepping. You have to fill up all that buffet line. So that's a lot of work, and it's just shocking to me.
Yeah.
I thought I'm going home in 2 months.
So much food. You
Too
got
much
to
food,
see-
too much fried rice.
Yeah. Goodness gracious.
So,
Pounds and pounds, I can only imagine.
Yep, never ending.
Now you can do it with your eyes shut.
Oh no.
Well, that's awesome. So
Yeah.
just to fill everybody in, the reason we're talking about the restaurant stuff is because you're a restaurateur now.
Kinda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, not kind of. Like you've had restaurants, you currently have.
Yeah. I gained kind of some experience from working at that Chinese buffet, and then the skill of cooking a little bit, and mostly cutting actually. So when I came to Little Rock or moved to Little Rock, I switched like restaurants, like from Chinese cuisine to Japanese cuisine.
Yeah.
So it's lighter work, and because it's not a buffet, so you don't really have to prep so much.
Right.
And I got hired from this restaurant that just were about to open, Kobe Japanese Steakhouse in 2000, October 8th, I believe. That's the first day that they were open. So I got hired, and they saw me that I can cut fast. They're like, I will train you to be a hibachi chef, So that's the first hibachi introduction to me,
Yeah. So you did the whole like hibachi chef thing, the like catch
Yeah.
the egg and the
Right.
hat and the volcano and
Yes.
yeah, okay.
Yep.
Awesome.
That's my first hibachi career. And
Can you still do some cool spatula tricks?
I can still do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Too bad there's no grill here.
I was about to
But
say, I've got some spatulas at the house. I'll run and grab them and we can practice on the table.
Yeah.
Teach me.
So, yeah, they have to train me about 8 months, before they can send me out to cook for whoever in front of me.
Because you can't mess up. I mean, you can, but like,
Yeah.
you really would like to not.
I
mess
can,
up.
but they have to have a very good insurance. So, yeah. So anyway, yeah, after 8 months, I slowly worked myself up and stayed there for 7 years.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
They trained 7 people. I'm the only one that remained.
That's so wild because I had to have eaten there
Yeah.
when you were there. We just didn't know each other.
Yeah. From 2001 to 2008.
Yeah.
You gotta be there.
Yeah. That's cool. I've always thought that was so cool. I mean, I'm sure it's just like any other job. Like once you're the one doing it, it gets less and less cool and more of a job.
Yeah, kind of. But the thing I like about cooking in front of people, you get to interact with them. You get to talk. You get to share, actually. That's one thing I'm missing.
Yeah.
Actually, sometimes you get so deep that you can share about religion.
Yeah.
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 So that's just one cool thing that I'm missing, actually.
There is something to be said for, I mean, like, so Vine and Village at Mosaic, I think, is a perfect example of this. There is like a wall that comes down when food's being like prepared and shared. And like our church does, their small groups are called tables for almost that exact reason. Like there is something, even though you're feeding people and it's not the same dynamic as literally like sitting down and sharing the meal with them. It is a good observation, I think, that like through being there and being able to have that interaction, I'm sure it led to some great experiences and great talks with people and probably some bad ones too, but you'll have that.
Yes, absolutely. I've been helping one village here and there, occasionally.
Yeah.
I should have done it more. Yeah, I've seen all that. It was a neat experience, actually, to meet with people and from different level of life. So
right. Yeah, it's incredible what they do, and the whole mission there. For those people that don't know what we're talking about, at Mosaic Church in Central Arkansas, and they're have a non-profit branch called Vine and Village,
right,
and it's the largest food distribution, I think, in the state. Right. I mean, it's an incredible operation, and the whole purpose of it is, people are less likely to want to hear about Jesus when they're starving.
Yes.
It's like on the hierarchy of needs, when you're hungry, your kids are hungry, it's really hard to think about much else. And you can get into the fact that also like they service an area that's a food desert. There's no access to fresh produce and things like that. So they do an incredible job of providing high quality, nutritious foods in an area where you couldn't buy it even if you wanted to. It's just not around.
Right.
I mean, they introduced me to that concept of the food desert. You think, we all sit around and pound our chests. We live in the U.S. and like we're awesome. But likely wherever you live, whatever city you're in, there's probably areas of that city that are technically defined as like a food desert because there's no access to fresh produce and stuff like that. You can only get fast food or frozen stuff out of a gas station freezer or whatever. It's a reality for way more people than I ever realized. So, and I just like to eat. So I like the message of like, anything that involves food and is also has a positive message other than that. Like I can get on board with that, love to eat. But okay, so you were there for 7 years. What's the worst experience you had with a table?
Oh man, I cut myself a couple of times in front of people.
Oh no.
Yeah, in the middle of cooking, as I was wiping my knife, I accidentally just got my finger under it,
Yeah.
and they kind of really don't want to show it, but I'll just I have to go real quick, and
Yeah.
the next thing they know is a different chef.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
This episode of Hustle on Purpose is brought to you by Arkansas Real Estate Buyers. If you have a problematic piece of real estate, we would love to help you. Go to the description, click on the link, schedule a free consultation with me personally, and we'll get you set up. Now let's get back to the show. Like when I was I had a roofing business for about 5 years, and I had a guy tell me once, it's like the reason most people fall off a roof or fall off a ladder is because you get so comfortable with setting your ladder up, climbing up, going on the roof, doing your thing, coming back down, getting off the ladder. It's like as soon as you lose respect for something, even for an instant, it's like that's when the bad stuff happens. It's like you'd handled your knife thousands of times and cut thousands of things up, and it's like you lose that respect for it just for a second, and it'll bite you.
Yep. Normally it happens when it's busy,
Of
because
course.
you have to hurry, the tables are waiting and all that. So
Yeah.
and I had that moment, when
Yeah.
you have to rush and cook here, eat it or leave it. No, that's really,
Yeah.
I don't like that.
And you do that thing where it's like anybody that's cut themselves with a really sharp knife, it's like you're pretty sure you just cut yourself, and you kind of look at it, and then the blood comes and you're like, oh, yep, all right. It's like some of those knives sometimes they're so sharp. I've cut myself with a razor and stuff on accident, and you're just like, man, that really felt like I just sliced my hand. And you look at it and it takes just a second, and then the blood's, and you're like, okay,
Yep. Gotta go.
yeah. Now I gotta go tell my wife that I cut myself, and she's gonna be like, why did you do that? And I'm like, well, it wasn't on purpose,
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so at Kobe for 7 years, then what made you leave there? Because 7 years there, you just had a different opportunity.
Yeah, 7 years, and then I had a friend opening another Japanese restaurant, and he said he needed my help in Maumelle, And of course, he said he's gonna pay me more, and make me in charge,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So I figure it's time for me to just see what's out there,
Yeah.
what I can do more. So so I quit, and I help my friend. So
Yeah. Awesome.
yeah. And,
Now, had you met your wife yet at this point?
well, I have already met Jenny. Yes. Okay. I met her at Kobe during that 7 years period. Yeah.
Okay.
In 2007.
Okay.
Actually, yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
So then you moved to work with your friend
In Maumelle.
in Maumelle,
Right.
and you're dating Jenny.
Yes. Actually, 2007, we were already married.
Oh yeah, I remember you've told me that before.
Yeah.
It was
So we met 3 months and we got married the next,
when you know
right
you know kind of thing. Yeah.
Yep. First love at first sight. First love. Yep.
That's amazing.
Yep.
So many people. This is a topic worth touching on. Did you run into any flack or was there any backlash to moving so quickly to get engaged, married, all of that? Any pushback from people around you?
Yeah. There's a couple, are you sure, you're moving too fast? Just think about it again. I mean, but they don't know what I've been going through.
Right.
So I was like, no, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to sound too religious, but I've been praying after my first date with
Yeah.
for 6 years and going nowhere, So I figure, I've been dating 6 years and it's going nowhere. So what's different? Let me try 3 months and see. And
Yeah.
it works out.
Yeah.
It works out. We've been married like 15 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Wonderful kids and
Yeah.
the whole shebang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
14,
Look at
15
you
years.
now. Yeah.
So
I have to watch myself because it's like relationships are one of those things where it's like through being with my wife for so long and through so many friends that have been through failed relationships, failed marriages, successful marriages, and all of that, I feel like I've just realized that like some of those successful marriages happen like dating like that. We know we're married, and like people, it's one of those things people just love to be so quick to judge on.
right.
And it's like nobody knows your relationship like you do.
Right.
I think most of them mean well. They're trying to like
Sure.
protect you from something bad.
Yes. Yes.
But I do my best not to offer any relationship advice unless explicitly asked for it.
Right.
And even then I'm like, man, I don't know your relationship like you do. I'm not there day in and day out when y'all are together, like I don't know the complexities of y'all's situation. In my experience, when I've dealt with something like this, here's how it went for me. Like so many people are just like, well, that's not the way I did it, so it's wrong. Y'all should have dated for 3 years.
At least or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just,
Yeah.
I'll get off my soapbox on that, but I figured you had faced some pushback because it's a thing people love to like hate on. And then if you date for too long, they're like, Oki, what's the deal? Like, when are you going to pop the question? Why are you waiting so long? It's like,
Right.
then you get pregnant and then you get married and it's like, well, what's taking so long? When are you going to have a kid? Or then you wait a while and they're like, what's taking so long? Why don't you have a kid yet? Then you get pregnant and it's like, oh, great. Like, when are you going to have another one? Or like, and it's just like, can people just like, can I live? Can you let me live?
Right. That's right.
Yeah. But okay. So y'all had super quick engagement. So when you got married, you had just started like this new job.
Yes, actually, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah. Was that part of the spark that led to, like I'm married now, maybe I need to, because women have a way of doing that for men. I feel like it's like pushing you to want more for yourself and your family.
No, not at the time because we don't have a kid yet.
Yeah.
And Janie is working at the time. She's the property manager at the landings. So
Yeah.
So we were good actually. I'm working, she's working. So it's just I've been staying at Kobe for like 7 years. I figured I wanna go out and see something different. You know. So
I want a different drive to work. I want like a change of scenery. I want
change location. And
I don't want to be able to make my drive to work in my sleep.
Right.
Because like some of those jobs I've had them too. It's like, man, I have driven this same drive 5 days a week, every week for however many years. I'm just like, you start recognizing the people driving around you. You start like, yep, there's that guy in the white Honda Civic. He's going to make a right turn at 3rd Street. That's when you know you've got a problem. You're like, oh man, like, we've got a new guy today. Like, where's he going?
Yep. I've seen that. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
When you see the same car going the same direction man.
Yeah. You start knowing their driving patterns. You're like, I got to pass him now because he drives too slow or whatever. Like, yeah, it's a real problem.
Right.
But yeah, so you got that change of scenery. And then how long were you at that place in Maumelle?
At that place in Maumelle, probably about 2 years.
Yeah.
So till 2010. That's right.
What's the restaurant called? Is it still there?
Sashimi.
Oh, yeah.
Sushimi.
Okay.
It's been changing name like 3-4 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still open, but it's under a different name. And
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it happens all the time in the restaurant business. You know even
Yeah.
better than I do. It's just,
It is.
all I know is that it's tough.
It is very tough.
Yeah.
They said it's the riskiest investment actually.
Yeah. Well, and especially, and I mean, we can touch on this too. I mean, when you're looking at an investment or you're looking at a business, there's different types of risk that you look at. And it seems like through COVID, the legislative risk, so like the legal side of the risk, was just like through the roof, because you never knew if the government was just going to come out and be like, hey, by the way, like that restaurant that you run that you use to support your family and your employees' lives and all that, you can't do it anymore.
Right.
I'm just like, what? How is that a thing?
Mm-hmm.
Like last time I checked, this was the United States of America. Had the freedom to like run a business.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that had to be kind of scary.
It is. I mean, when you have to close because of the social distancing and all that, yeah, that's kind of scary. It's just
What do you do? You're just like,
right.
What do I do? But anyways, I don't want to lose track of the timeline. So you stayed there for a couple years at Sashimi.
Mm-hmm. Right.
At what point do you transition into doing something on your own?
Actually, I have to go back home for my immigration status.
Okay.
Yeah, because I've been fighting for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I have to go home. So at that time, Naaman was already born. He's about 2-3 months old.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have proof everything that I have good faith, marriage, and sons that's born here,
Right.
and still. So
couldn't get approval for your
can't get approval because I've already
visa?
have voluntary departure. That's what it's called.
Okay.
It's already in a court, so they already stamp it. So they can't put one case over another case. So the only way for me to get reinstated on my status, so it's just to go home.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter how much you pay a lawyer. So at that time they want $10,000, but it's still not guaranteed that I will be, my case will be reopened and stuff and reviewed. So I just took my 2 months old son and go home.
Oh, you took him with you?
Home.
Yeah.
I have to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Janie don't want me to go by myself, so she want to go with me. So we took Naaman.
So you all went.
We all went. So yeah.
And then how long? And that's in Indonesia.
That was so.
And then
that's in January 2009 or 10. I can't remember. So anyway, I think it's 10. I will say January 2010. We all went back.
How long you have to stay there?
I have to stay there until I don't even know actually how long. It depends on
because you have to reapply for like a new visa. Okay.
So once I go out from the United States, that's when my status is clear. Then I can start my petition based on merit. That's what I call it.
Right.
Yeah. So, but now I'm in
like having a wife and a son.
Right. Now I can start my marriage petition. So no more asylum or whatever.
Right.
Because I was applying for asylum and I got denied.
Okay.
So.
But once you're married, it's like you're filing for.
Right, for marriage. So your petition. So so
you just have to file it and wait.
File and wait, and I have to go to the nearest embassy in Jakarta, which is the capital of Indonesia, and pay fees, and it's still not guaranteed, that they will take me back. You know what I mean? So I'll just have to prove some letters from closest friends, write me why I need to go back here or I have to go back here, and that kind of stuff. And I don't have a lawyer. I mean, you can't hire Indonesian lawyer. They don't know what case you're going on through.
Right.
So I just have to do it myself, me and Jenny. So it's very tough.
If you were going to have somebody on your side to help you do it, Jenny is an excellent choice.
Yeah.
I feel like
That's one thing, she didn't want me to go by myself. That's a plus right there. That's like an encouragement. So
yeah.
But even though we went to the embassy in Jakarta, me and her, they told her to stay outside because they said, I don't have a problem with you. It's your husband. So they don't look at her like anything. So I thought it's going to help, but it's not.
Really?
So this is where God's really helping me. I have no more help right here. I was like, God, I mean, you're the only one.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I got inside the office. It's like, well, you overstayed and all that stuff. I was like, well, yeah, I did overstay and I'm sorry. And that's what I'm trying to clear my status. I want to make it right, And
Right.
I just said sorry. I mean, there's nothing else I can do. And I think she took that as a sincere apology,
Yeah.
So she's like, yeah, just wait for it. And she has to send my case again to Bangkok, Thailand, because that's where the USCIS office for immigration that decide whether you're going to be approved or not. So I have to wait. I have to send my case again.
Yeah.
And that's the time where Jenny has to come back here because it's already 1 year. Her airline ticket is already almost expired if she's not coming back.
Yeah. So y'all were there a year?
So she has to leave me alone right now at this point. So she has to go with Naaman. She has to go back. So I was there by myself. So because I was waiting for the approval.
You can't come back.
Yeah, I can't come back. I don't have anything to come back with.
Yeah.
So Naaman and Jenny, she went.
Man.
So that's just the hardest.
That's got to be,
Yeah, the hardest one. So I remember all of the church friends writing letters. I need Oki back and all that stuff because it's helpful and all that stuff. So
and his family needs him. Yeah.
Yeah, family needs him.
Man, I can't imagine you're just in Indonesia, which you have family there, which is good.
Yeah.
But your wife and your son are back in the U.S. and you're just stuck waiting for a bureaucratic program to stamp, a form somewhere and say, okay, you can go back. Man. So how long did that take? Because you're here now. So obviously we know it has a happy turn at some point.
Actually, it only took another 2 months after Jenny left me, So, but during that 2 months, that's the hardest 2 months, seeing your firstborn like leaving you.
Man,
I can only see his shoes in my room, every time I come home. So
and they change so much so fast. You hate to change
so much so fast. You're right.
You hate to miss any of that. I mean, you're tugging at my heartstrings because I have a 2-month-old.
Yeah,
and so it's like just imagining not seeing her for 2 months. It's like, I mean, it'd be, and during those 2 months, you just don't know.
I don't even know. It could
have
been
be
20 months
right?
actually.
Yeah. You're just like praying and wishing and hoping that it's yeah.
So
and there was no like FaceTime back then. You could probably like Zoom or Skype.
Right, Skype. So but that's I'll be honest with you, that's the best moment of my life though.
Really?
Believe it or not, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the lowest point of my life where I can really feel God the closest.
Yeah.
I wouldn't trade it with anything else. So, man. Because that's just a turning point right there.
Yeah.
Where, I mean, who's going to help you? Nobody. Only God.
Yeah. Isn't it funny, man?
Nothing.
There's like the valleys, you've got your peaks and your valleys, and sometimes those valleys, in hindsight, they're the parts of your life that can strengthen your faith the most,
Yep.
Like it's really easy to be faithful when you're on top of the mountain.
Oh yeah.
And like everything's going great.
Absolutely.
But into the the shadow of the
The
valley.
the death. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
That's,
and you have nothing else to lean on.
yep.
It's just crazy the way God works. It's like
It is. I think he made it like that on purpose. But,
Yeah.
for that beautiful experience that I had.
yeah,
Yeah. So there's a time where I like really begging him, crying out, like it is said. But yeah, I mean, believe it or not, I don't even know, like I said, like this is still in the process. So after Jenny left, I called her almost every day, and I told her I'm gonna see you soon. Every time before we hang up,
Yeah.
I'll see you soon. She thought I'm crazy.
Yeah.
She thought I lost my mind.
yeah,
Okay, I mean, you don't even hear anything yet. Why do you keep saying this? I was like, I just believe that I will see you soon.
yeah,
So, and then once I got it, the letter approved, sent to my house
Right.
in Indonesia, I call her again. I was like, Jenny, I'll see you soon. She's like, I knew you're gonna say this, and I show her the letter. She can't believe it.
yeah,
So she was almost flipped, and I think she cried a little bit. So
yeah. I mean,
But
what a
'cause this
joyous
time is
moment because
real.
she's also stuck here without
Yeah.
you and raising a firstborn and a newborn.
Right.
I mean, that's
yeah,
a crazy thing to go through alone,
Yeah.
and it's got to be such a joyous moment. You're like,
So,
what? Oh my
yeah.
God, it happened. Like, you really are like
it was real. Yeah,
coming back, and like, that's amazing.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And you get to carry that perspective with you for the rest of your life, where it's like,
Yeah.
man, I know what it's like to like not be here and not be able to see my wife and son, even if I wanted to. And like,
Right.
you got, it's almost like I'm sure you do with your kids. It's like you have to let them get into some bad situations. Hopefully not like really bad,
Yeah.
but especially when they're young, you can kind of control some of that environment, let them get into a little bit of trouble or whatever. So then they can realize, hey, we've got things like really good when it's not this way or whatever. Like, you know
Right.
what I mean? It's like,
Yes.
that's kind of, I mean, we're all God's children, right? But I can just see some of those situations, how they've played out in my life. And I'm like, man, it's hard for me to not just see it as like, God, let me go through that situation that seems so devastating and bad, but like it could have been way worse. It's like it was bad enough for me to get the perspective, to
Yeah.
get like whatever the message needed to be, but not so bad that it like ruined my life.
Right.
It gave me the
Right.
strength or the skill or the whatever I needed to handle this thing that I was going to go through later.
Right.
It's like the longer I live and the more
Yes.
experiences like that I
Yes.
have, the stronger my faith gets.
Yes.
Because like I've just seen it. And
Yes.
you pile up some of that that proof in your own life. It gets kind of hard to explain, but most people of faith that I talk to have like a similar thing. They're like, yeah, like a lot of my faith comes from seeing God work in my life.
Yes, you have to experience it
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah. That's amazing. So you get your car, you get your, approval, and you come back
I come back.
and everybody's all excited.
Yep.
And then what do you do?
Then I called my friend again. Hey, I was like, I'm back. If you need me, I'm available. So I work in Maumelle again.
Yeah.
For him, and then we bought our first tiny house
Yeah.
in Broadmoor. Me and
Okay.
Jenny and Naaman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So that's our life kind of like started again.
That's the full-blown American dream right there.
Yeah, kind of. That's the starting point. It's still not there yet, but
Yeah.
we still, because right now Jenny can't work. She has to watch the boy, what's Naaman,
Yeah.
being at home.
Yeah.
So I was just still working, and trying out. I think about 2 years from that point, I think I started to think that I think I can open my own business, and then I did, trying to open fried wings,
Yeah.
chicken wings, whatever, and it failed because I had a wrong motivation. I'm trying to, in my mind, I was like, I want to open a restaurant, make a lot of money, and retire early,
Yeah. It's a good goal. Yeah.
But yeah, so it failed in 7 months. So all the savings that I've been saved,
Yeah.
it's just gone.
Yeah. It can happen very fast.
Yeah. So I think it was about 2011, I think.
Yeah.
And then 2012, so I have to go back to work again. I have to go back to Kobe, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And then David was born, 2012.
Yeah.
So
it sounds like another valley.
Yeah,
Going through
addition,
a tough time, and
you need more financial, so you need to make more money, basically.
Yeah. You got to swallow your pride. You got to go back to where you worked before.
Right.
Props to you for, being able to actually say the words, like I had a business that failed, because even just saying the words alone, I think people, I'll just say, like, me personally, it is really hard for me to just actually verbalize, like, I did this thing and it failed.
Mm-hmm.
It's like hard for me to like put that label on it, as true as it is. And I have had many failures.
Yeah.
I just like that you like actually said the words, because I think embracing it is a big part of getting the lesson from it and turning it from a failure to a lesson to like an actionable thing to help you move forward.
Right.
That's
true.
Yeah. So, but yeah. And so you're back at Kobe, you had this chicken wing restaurant, savings are gone.
Mm-hmm.
You've got your second son born.
Right.
And another part of that is people that I know in the restaurant business. You're working evenings and weekends.
Right.
So it's like, that's also got to be tough. It's like all the time that normally you would want to be able to spend with your wife and
family,
kids is when you're having to be out there working.
Yeah. Especially on the weekend, that's tough. When family is gathering, I have to work because you can't take off on the weekend. That's the busiest.
Yeah.
It's just the downside of the restaurant,
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's one of the tough part, to have to face. So
you're back at Kobe. You've got 2 boys, and where do you go from there?
So after that, I was just still working and just kind of, provide for the family the best I can, because obviously now Jenny, there's no way she can work, it's, you got to choose it. Do you want to work or put the kids in the daycare and have someone watch your kids, or, I was like, nah, I'll prefer you.
Yeah.
Watch the kids, it's a trade-off, it's a choice. So, but I still prefer her to watch our kids personally, regardless.
Nobody's going to love your kids the way you do. Nobody's going to pour into them the way
there's no way.
Yeah.
So I figured that. So I was like, that's okay, I'll be the one at work. And we just manage whatever that we can manage, with this situation, and still be happy with it and be grateful. So, I was just telling myself, as long as I'm happy, as long as I'm healthy, I can always go out and work, so that's it.
Yep.
At that point. Yeah, good thing we got a small house. The payment is not outrageous, out in Broadmoor. So that is only kind of like already laid out to us, what to choose, what to buy. So
you take that entrepreneurial mindset home with you. It's like keep overhead low.
Yeah,
and,
of course.
we can weather the tough times. Just keep the overhead low.
Yes,
yeah.
I already knew it because Jenny won't be able to work, so it's only one way income. So you gotta be. Yeah, it's really tough. Yeah, cause
you can't be cutting yourself.
Right,
like you said, you gotta stay healthy. You gotta stay working.
You gotta stay healthy. And working. I can't even miss a day sometimes. Yeah. So, but the good thing is I have always getting Sundays off. That's
really
That's the blessing actually.
Yeah.
The last 6 years I've been working for someone. They've been giving me Sundays off.
That's
no matter
great.
how tough it is. It's just like I think that's God's ways of helping me out, so I can at least be my, when they hire me, they'll always tell me, "Oh, Sunday's hard. I will alternate you, but I will try my best." But in the reality, they'll always give me Sunday off. So that's like yeah.
It reminds me of a Bishop T.D. Jakes' sermon, and he's talking about is a talk about like Sabbathing, and it was mainly like Sunday being a day of rest.
Yeah,
and he was saying some people will take it out of context. It's like you should have a day of rest. He's like, and even God rested on the seventh day. But then he kind of flips it and he goes, you know what he did in the other 6? He created the universe and everything that you know and love. So it's like, yes, rest on the 7th day, but make sure on the other 6 you are doing everything in your power to fulfill your purpose.
Right.
And I've always liked that. It's like,
that's cool.
It's like, even God rested on Sunday.
Yeah.
But like those other 6 days, he was working, So,
yep.
Yeah. And it sounds like you were probably in a situation like that. It's like you got your Sunday off.
Yeah.
But the other 6 days, it's like working.
Working.
Yeah. Okay, so back at Kobe.
Yep.
And at some point, y'all make a plunge into doing your own another entrepreneurial venture.
Yes. So 2012, David was born. So I think around 2013 or 14, I can't remember, that I moved or I changed job to Secura, the one in Benton, Alcoa.
Yep.
So yeah, that's actually where I met this older couple, that providing me a lot for me to open a food truck.
Yeah.
So it is out of nowhere. So it just happened that it's my turn to cook for them.
Yeah.
And then they're a very strong believer. And of course, like as always, I like to share, and just talk out of whatever, with your customers, just to have a conversation. And I tell them I've been doing this for whatever years, and I just tell them like my dream. I tell everyone my dream is one day, whenever it is, like I'm gonna do my own, So they pick that up, and after they ate, before they leave, they call me, they're like, hey, we have a lot here we don't even know what to do with it.
Yeah.
So we would like for you to try out, start something small. So it's like, and we would like to just, for you to try. If you make it, you stay. If you don't make it, you can leave. At least you try, she said, So I want you to come this Saturday and meet me. She gave me the address in Sheridan, Arkansas. So I went with Jenny, and I saw the lot, and she's like, what do you think? I was like, well, it's on the side of the street, a lot of cars passing by. It's not too fast, I was like, yeah, why not? We're going to try it out.
Yeah.
Well, at that time, I don't have money, you know.
Right.
I mean, with 2 kids and all that stuff, not much, not much saving at all. So she's like, just start something small, or you buy you a used truck, or you know, whatever it is that you can, you know, just be as conservative as you can to start up with.
Right.
Which I got that experience from the previous failure, like you said earlier. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not buying all the new equipments no more. I
Right.
just look at marketplace, whatever that I can find use to get me going. If I can use this equipment for 1 year at least, you know, hey, that's good. At least to try out, to see the market. So I did that.
The minimal viable product, get it to market,
Yep.
and get the feedback.
Yep.
I've made the mistake of buying all the expensive stuff, nitpicking all the little details, having to have everything perfect before I put anything in front of somebody. And you realize, like, the owner of Chick-fil-A said, if your product's good enough, the market will demand you grow. It's like, just get something out there, get the feedback, iterate, improve. Anyways, I completely derailed you, but like,
No, it's fine.
yeah, and then you can start seeing the purpose of the quote unquote like failure of the chicken restaurant.
Yes.
All the lessons learned from it, and you're like,
that's the best experience. Actually, as I look back, I didn't regret that. You know, because that's like my guidance. So anyway, yeah. So I just happened to see that there's a used food truck for really cheap, $6,000. So you can, trailer, you know. So
$6,000?
$6,000.
Yeah.
You won't believe it. The setup, the windows, the doors is perfect according to the lot that she's having. So I was like, how is that happening like that? I don't have to change anything.
Yeah.
It's just like perfect pool and park and facing the street, the windows facing the street. So it's just like, I don't know. I'm sure it's God thing.
God thing. Yeah.
Yeah. For the price to start up with. So there you go. I just start up, you know, using all the credit cards.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to, I hate borrowing from people or even my own family. So I'll just.
Yeah. Borrow from JP Morgan and.
Yeah. So that's why I was like, I think I can borrow a little bit from credit card as long. I don't want to go full blown where I can't afford to pay it at the end and then.
But then you own the truck.
Right.
If everything, you know, falls apart, the truck is still worth something.
Right.
You know, if you go lease a fancy space, things go sideways, you're just out the money you spent on the lease. At least $6,000 on the truck. It's an asset. I mean, it's a liability, but it's on the balance sheet as
but you own that thing, you know. You can. Someone will always use it, you know.
Someone needs a $6,000 food
something
truck.
else. Yeah. So there you go. We start up. I think Jenny told me the most important is present your food. You know, make sure when they buy your food, they're like, "Wow!" They will forget their mortgage the next day.
Yeah,
that's what you need to focus on. You know,
if the food's good enough. It can be
back.
served out of a hole in the ground.
Yeah. So there you go. I take that as a good point, and there you go.
Yeah.
So.
So the food truck is doing hibachi.
Yeah. It's hibachi on wheels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that. So did you? Those things are expensive.
Yeah. Actually,
I would think the hibachi grill is more than your food truck.
No, actually, there is the cheaper version of it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it can be. There's some like 10, 12,000 just a grill.
Yeah.
So we got. Yeah. We start up with a black stone actually.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
dude, I love mine. I have a black stone and I love it.
So yeah, it comes with the food truck, with the trailer actually.
Oh,
it comes with it. So we're like, why do I buy? So I'm just gonna try it out anyway. So let's see. Yeah. And business took off the first day we were open, October the 15th, 2015, October.
Okay.
Yeah. October 2015. So
coming up on 8 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So next year will be
same food truck still there?
No, actually we have changed the trailer. Okay. So, you know.
Yeah.
We changed the trailer because the old one is just time to go.
Right. But that's
Yeah.
the beautiful thing
Right.
of like once it's making money,
Yes. You
you can
always,
make decisions like that.
yes. Yeah, you can change all the equipments the way you want it. So
Right.
that's one thing I learned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
so
awesome, man.
2015.
So when you first started it, you're doing both? Are you still at Kobe and then
No,
like,
actually,
Yeah.
since the
You
business
can't do both.
No, the business took off, and we'll just focus on me and my brother. Actually, that's why it's
Okay.
called Two Brothers Hibachi
Yeah.
on wheels.
Yeah.
So once it took off, we'll just focus on the hibachi Sheridan.
And what was your brother doing?
Well, me and him, he was cooking. We were both cooking and prepping and all
Okay.
that. So together. So
Okay.
So yeah. So like back to the couples that provided a lot. She provides everything. She provided the water lines. She gave me a free storage. She built up the electric pole. So I don't spend all that.
Yeah.
That's like another $4 or $5 grand.
Getting the utilities. Yeah.
And I was like, why did you do that to me? She's like, well, she told me this. She's like, when I was young like you, someone helped me.
Yeah.
Just like at your age. So someone helped me. I was in a very deep situation. And now I felt like she said I wanted to pay it back. And I see that the person is you. Wow. She made me cry, actually.
Yeah.
I was like, what? My family won't even do this.
Yeah.
They're probably like, reasons.
Yeah.
So she did that to me. Again, she said, just do your best. If you make it, you stay. I'll be glad. If you don't, then at least you tried.
Yeah.
And she charged me $300 a month since the beginning until today. She never raised not even $1.
Wow.
She's like, I'm just glad that you can make it.
Yeah.
And that's it. So that's just,
And maybe give you the opportunity to pay it forward to someone else
Yeah.
someday. Yeah.
absolutely.
Isn't it weird how, because I've had this experience too, sometimes strangers will see your potential more than the people that are closest to you? Sometimes.
Yeah.
Not
yeah,
all the time.
Sometimes, yes.
But
yes.
sometimes you tell a
some
stranger
situation.
a dream or a goal, and they're just like, oh, yeah. No, that makes total sense. Like, you've got the skill set. I can see it. Like, you do great at that. That would be awesome. Do that thing, whatever. And you tell some of the people that are closest to you, the people that love you the most, and they're just like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure you're cut out for that. I'm not
Right.
sure it's a good time. Should you really be spending your money
Yeah.
on that thing? It's just kind of odd. You would
It
think
is.
it would be the other way around.
You're right.
But when you have a stranger say they see something in you and something like
Yeah.
that, I mean, it's got to be
Yeah.
an incredible thing.
It is.
Yeah.
I was shocked myself. I was like, really? It was me?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So,
Like, are you sure?
yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
it's like, cause I tried it with this chicken place. It didn't work out. Like,
Yeah.
it's easy. It sounds like such a refreshing message to hear, especially when you're going through a tough time and you're like
Yeah.
in one of these valleys and you've got kids. And I mean, it just sounds like an overwhelming season because that's a lot to go on. And one of the reasons I want to have you on here is just because I think some people can empathize with some of those like seasons of life, right? Like,
Right.
man, like trying to provide for my family and having 2 young kids and keep it where, my wife can stay at home and doesn't have to work or whatever. Like, so many of us have been through those valleys, are currently in those valleys, and it's easy to sit there and like wallow in self-pity and get down on yourself. But at least in my experience, and it sounds like in your experience as well, there's only 2 things that I believe are going to help you when you're in those situations. And it's 1, it's prayer.
Right.
And 2
No doubt.
is hard work. Another, not to just keep quoting Bishop T.D. Jakes, but I love this other thing he talks about where it's like, you can sit there, let's say you need a table. It's like you can sit there and pray for a table till you're blue in the face, right? But it's like, God's not in the business of making tables.
Right.
God's in the business of making trees. He'll give you all the trees you want. They're everywhere. But you have to take a lot of times the ingredients, let's say, that God's put in your life, and you have to do the work to take those and make the table.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
You can sit there and be like, man, I need a table so bad. If God really loved me or if he really existed, he'd give me a table. And meanwhile, God's over there like, you got trees right there. You got, I put Joe in your life, who's a carpenter, specifically for this situation to help you build a table.
Yes.
I put Jim in your life, who owns a chainsaw, so that you could borrow it to cut down. It's like, instead of looking at everything like it's conspiring against you, it's like, chances are, if you really try, you may be able to see you've got everything you need.
Right.
But
we have our part to do.
Some people can't get past the hurdle of like, oh, I have to do a lot of like action. It stops a lot of people.
Yes.
And hence the name. That's why it's called Hustle on Purpose. It's like, you've got the hustle aspect. You have to be doing something. You have to take the action.
Yes.
It's like, just make sure you're doing that in a way with purpose, on purpose, with intentionality, towards your goals, towards your purpose, all of that. So
yes.
when I hear your story, I'm like, it perfectly encompasses that. You've got blessings along the way that help you because you're taking action. It's like, through the hustle, the purpose reveals itself.
Yes.
Through the purpose, you sustain the hustle.
Yes. That makes sense. Yes, sir. Yep.
So, all right. So you start the food truck. That's been going for, you're about to have your 8th anniversary. That's incredible.
Yes.
Yeah. And, no food truck stays in business for 8 years without a ton of work and intentionality.
I can't remember the first 6 months. I think I put up like 12 to 13 hours a day. Yeah. Yeah. Because with the hirings and to make people stay to work and all that stuff. Because, so yeah.
And you're creating everything from scratch. Like there's just so much that goes into like, figuring out the systems and the processes. And you're hiring new people and you got to train them. And how do we train people? And then an incident happens and you're like, oh man, okay, we got to completely rework this process because it's super flawed. And you're doing all of that while you have to like make sure bills are paid. You've got all your products that you need to serve the food, your accounts receivable. I mean, there's just, and you're just.
And make sure I stay healthy from only sleeping 5-6 hours a day.
Yeah. I mean, having 2 young kids. And
2 young kids. I don't even know where they're at the time, Because Jenny helped me too, because she has to leave early and just to pick up the kids. I don't even know at that day and Monday, Tuesday, who they're with.
Too busy slinging rice.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. We got to get this rice out the window and the money in the window.
But we survived it. Yeah. We survived. So.
Right. And I mean, it is a common theme on here with business leaders and entrepreneurs. It's like, man, if I had known what I was getting into when I started, I'm not sure I would have started.
You're right.
Because if you knew all of it going in, man, you're like, people tell you it's hard, but no one can tell you what hard means.
Right.
But then you live it and you're going through those hard times and you're like, oh, this right here. This is what they meant when they said it was going to be hard. You're like, oh, I got it now. Yeah.
Yep.
You're right. It is hard. Didn't know what you meant, but now I do. Yeah, this is tough. But yeah, so since, what happens next? You start the food truck. It's crazy. I mean, there's probably still obviously it still takes a lot of oversight and work there. Yeah. But you've also got some other things going on.
Yeah, after the food truck, and we decided to open like a noodle place, in Maumelle.
Yeah.
Actually, the restaurant is like right next to the one that I used to work.
Whenever you were saying
Kinda like
you used to
almost
work at
side by side.
yeah, I was like, man, it's like really close to
Yeah.
your restaurant.
Yes, right there. It's kind of weird, you know.
Yeah.
So again, we'll just start small. We're not trying to. I mean, that restaurant is
Yeah.
up for lease, you know. So we're like, why not? We're gonna try, you
Yeah.
know, what we can. And my brother, like, would like to do it, be in charge in the kitchen,
Yeah.
cooking the noodle like a ramen.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah.
it's really good.
Yeah, and oh, thanks.
Yeah. I got to have the Oki treatment when I went. Like you told me all the right stuff to order, and not I'm sure it's all good, but like you ordered me some stuff that's like I probably would have been apprehensive to try, but it was like it
Yeah,
was so good. What was that what was the like the appetizer thing? There's like
that's
some
kind of round.
yeah, like little balls.
Takoyaki.
Yeah, takoyaki.
Yeah,
And what is it? What's
it's
in
a
the takoyaki?
squid.
Yeah, so
filling,
squid
like
yeah.
a shape of dough, and they fill it up with squid in the middle.
Right.
And they fry them. And
See,
then give some
normally
sauce.
not something I would have just been like, oh yeah, let me get the
Yeah.
squid stuffed
Yeah.
dough balls.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have it, and with the sauce, I was like, oh man, I'm glad
Yes.
you made me get these
experience
because
it.
it's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So again, everything is already there, you know,
yeah,
the restaurant, so we don't have to buy anything other than our own equipment. So we have really nothing to lose. We just take over the lease. So
Yeah.
we'll just see, you know, and it's been more than a year now.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, for a restaurant to make it a year is a big milestone
Yes, it is a big milestone.
because there's a
actually.
big drop off
6 months
in that
Yeah.
first year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of the same with real estate agents. It's like I mean, I'm going to misquote the stat, but it's like 89% of real estate agents don't make it a year.
Mm-hmm.
Restaurants is even higher than that,
Oh,
I'm sure.
yes,
It's like
it is.
99% don't make it a year.
6 months is actually to test you if you're really gonna stay with it or not, or you're just gonna like give up, you know.
Yeah.
Because when you don't see anything is coming, then you know the bills, the lease, the contract is gonna keep kicking in. The electric have to be kept on, and the gas, fryers, and all that stuff. All
Yeah.
that is just payroll, and
Yeah.
your time. You put 12 hours if you don't hire nobody, and then you have to be there.
Yeah.
So that's what happened with the wing place. That you know,
Yeah.
it's just me and my friend working
Yeah.
8 hours doing the same thing for nothing is coming in.
Yeah.
So that's just tough. So
Yeah.
if you can survive 6 months in that feeling situations, that's yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's another thing that I talk about pretty often. It's like, I think just we as people underplay our achievements. So I want to make sure we don't gloss over the fact that like you made a food truck work and made it work for going on 8 years, and you've made a restaurant work, and that's a big deal. Like, it's not like as an entrepreneur, as a business leader, we always, I think in general, we tend to focus on what needs improvement, right? Because like the buck always stops with you. You always have to be in like conflict and problem resolution mode, that it's really hard to sit back and say, you know what? Like we've done something, like we've like accomplished something. And like, I need to be proud of that. It's like, just like I was saying before, how it was really, I admired the way that you use the word failure, the chicken restaurant failure.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's important that we like sit with those lows and like acknowledge that it happened, learn the lesson from it. But it's equally as important to celebrate the successes.
Right. I agree.
Because if you mask over the lows and the highs, dude, you're just living your life in this like neutral mode.
Yeah.
It's like, it's important to be sad sometimes.
You're right.
It's important to be really, really happy sometimes.
Right.
And I'm preaching this to myself because I fall in that like, man, I've got to stay neutral. I've got to be able to think through my decisions logically, not get too emotional one way or the other, or dealing with my kids. I don't want to get, too out of whack. I've got to just stay. And you look up and you're like, man, I've just been masking over all of my feelings, good, bad, all of it, just to like try and stay neutral. And it's like, man, we need sunny days. We need rainy days.
Yeah.
Like you need it all. It's part of like the balance of life.
That's right. I agree.
So I try to make sure that when somebody has an accomplishment like you do, it's like, or like I talk to people in real estate and they're like, I've only got 3 rent houses, or I've only got 7,
right.
or I've only got 50, or I've only got 300. I mean, I know guys locally that have 1,000 rent houses in their portfolio. It's like, man, portfolios at like 1,000 houses, and their sites are on 2,000, and it's good to have that drive and to want to keep pushing for goals.
Yeah.
But like, man, if you can't celebrate having 3 rent houses,
you can't celebrate.
Having 20 or 3,000 or whatever. It's like, like, dude, you've got 2 successful restaurants. That's 2 more than 99.9% of the people probably, right? Like it is a really difficult thing to do.
Yeah.
So it's worth celebrating. I think it's awesome.
Absolutely.
And you're able to provide for your family and other people's families and feed the community and like interact with a bunch of people and
still have freedom to go fishing.
Yeah. Yeah. I have to go fishing with you sometime because like I was saying earlier, like I am not a fisherman, but I love fishing. I'm just not the guy that knows what he's doing. It's like if I have somebody that's like, this is the bait you want to use and here's like the line you want to use or whatever, then I'm good.
We should go on the charter.
Oh, I'd love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just convince my wife. You talk to my wife. I'll talk to Jenny.
Okay.
Because I feel like Jenny would be like, yeah, just go.
I will.
Because I would love that. We should do a guys trip for real.
That would be awesome.
It would be amazing.
Yeah.
And I love like sushi, fresh fish. I mean, seafood. Period. Like I'm game.
Yeah.
Would love it.
That would be awesome. Yes, sir.
It would be great. Let's do it. Well, just real quick, if people want to find your restaurant or the food truck, where is it? It's Two Brothers.
Hibachi is in
Sheridan.
Yep. I mean, Sheridan is pretty small.
Yeah.
You won't be able to miss it. So
yeah.
So
and the restaurant in Maumelle.
The restaurant in Maumelle is called Goku Ramen Bar.
Yeah. I love the Dragon Ball reference.
Yeah.
Yeah, go check out either one of those. They're both awesome. And, the last thing I normally talk about is one piece of advice you would give your younger self. If you could go back, let's say when you first come into Alabama, if you could give yourself one piece of advice, what would it be?
Well, I will say it in general, okay, to everyone, to myself. I will say, don't be afraid. Start small and dream big. You can do it.
Yeah.
Yep. If there is a way, if there's a will, there is a way.
Yep.
So don't give up hope.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I love this start small and dream big.
Yeah.
Most people just aren't willing to start small.
They like to start big and and dream big, but
or not start at all.
Yeah, or not start at all.
A lot of people just skip straight to the dream big.
Yeah, right.
And I'm all for it, but
yeah. See, there's a lot of people that like to see where you're at right now. You have this and that, and you can go out there having a free days going fishing, but they didn't know. They don't know like what you've been through to achieve that moment. So they didn't know you were working. You were only sleeping 4 or 5 hours a day during the first 6 months. So and you don't get to see your kids.
Yeah.
All they see is just the shell right now. Oh wow, you don't work, nice. and
Right.
you still got money.
Yeah, no one sees
They don't see the process. So.
no one sees the tree roots, but they all see the fruit.
Right.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah. Nobody pays attention to all of that work going on underground and in the tree and whatever. It's just
Like you almost got divorced, building your business.
Yeah.
They don't see that.
Bankruptcy. I mean,
Yeah,
like there's
failure.
just, yeah, right. Nobody,
no.
yeah. And Lamar Jackson wore a shirt, the quarterback for the Ravens, Baltimore Ravens. And I think this phrase was kind of famous and making the internet rounds before, but I think after he wore the shirt, it kind of blew up. And it was like a black shirt with white letters, and it just says, "No one cares," line, "work harder."
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I mean, it's kind of brutal, but
yeah. You got
the world doesn't owe you anything.
Nope.
You got to go out there and like literally
Yeah.
take it and work for it.
Yes.
I love that. Start small, dream big.
Start small, dream big.
It's perfect.
There's a will, there's a way.
There's a will, there's a way. That's right. Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. And yeah, thank you all for listening. If you're listening, check us out on YouTube. If you're watching us on YouTube, you can check us out on Spotify or wherever else you get your podcasts. This has been Oki Sutanto with us today. Go check out his food truck, Two Brothers in Sheridan, and the restaurant Goku in Maumelle. If you're here locally, they're both outstanding. And, you're supporting a local business, which is what we're all about. So thank you all again, like I said, for listening and watching, and hustle on purpose. Thanks for watching. If you liked that video as much as we liked making it, be sure to check out another one. You've got one here. You got another one over here. If you want to listen to the podcast audio only, go check out the Spotify link in the description. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. It helps us out a ton. And please hit the bell if you want notifications anytime we drop a new video. Hope to see you on the next one.